Welcome to Asian American Life. I'm Ernabelle DeMillo. New York's South Asian community is growing, and you don't have to go to Queens to try out their great cuisine. You could do it right here in Kips Bay, where you'll find some of the best South Asian restaurants and businesses along a 4-block stretch. I'll have more on that story coming up, plus Asian American New Yorkers who are lifting and inspiring others. My special report on ARC. I return back to the Philippines to see how they're continuing the fight against hunger. Legendary photographer gets his own street, Quirky Li Wei. Why is this Kips Bay neighborhood a culinary hotspot? Changing taste buds, turning sour to sweet. Plus instrumentalist composer Trey Lamb. This and more on Asian American Life. In 2019, I visited the Philippines with ARC, a New York-based nonprofit. Their goal is to help communities create a self-sustaining path to solve hunger. In the words of their founder, it is a hand up, not a hand out. Well, I returned to the Philippines this past summer, curious to see how one community was doing. Coron is an island in the Philippines, a popular destination spot famous for its crystal clear waters and limestone rock formations. But beyond the tourist attractions are the people who keep this island running, the fisherfolks and farmers. I drove to Santo Niño, a barrio or what locals call a barangay, about an hour away from Coron town. I was greeted by the person in charge, Kapitan Erning Lopez, who was eager to share his community's successes 2 years after graduating from the ARC feedback program.
Wala pa yung ARC ay kami ay number 1 sa malnutrisyon dahil sa ARC natutong magtanim at kumain ng gulay ang aming mga kabarangay. Kaya maraming salamat po sa ARC dahil kung hindi kami nabigyan siguro nandito pa rin kami sa mababang sitwasyon ng aming mga kabarangay. Maraming salamat po.
Lopez was introduced to ARC in 2020 during the pandemic.
More than 5 million Filipinos have gone hungry in one of the world's toughest and longest COVID-19 lockdowns.
According to the World Bank, COVID-19 took a heavy toll in the Philippines. At the time, Santo Niño had the worst malnutrition rates in the area. But today, it's a different story.
Fresh vegetable, ma'am.
The day before I visited, they learned that they now had the lowest rates, and they credit their ARC partnership.
Out of 14 barangays, number 14 po kami. Kami na po yung pinaka-lowest na po sa malnourished. Tanim namin, naibibinta pa namin, nakakain pa namin, nagbawas po yung malnourished namin.
I was introduced to ARC's work back in 2019 when I traveled to the Philippines with their New York-based co-founder Ayesha Veriyu and her team. At the time, ARC focused on its school lunch program, a 5-cent meal farmed and funded by parents and community members. But when COVID shut down schools, ARC had to pivot. They now work directly with communities, creating a self-sustaining path for families through its feedback program. It starts with families growing vegetables in their backyard. What they don't eat, they bring to a community-wide exchange. Bring at least 3 different varieties of produce and leave with 20 different kinds. Many also started selling the excess food, adding another source of income.
Hindi ba yung mga tao parang tamad magtanim. Tapos nung magkaroon ng art, parang sila successful na, yung iba na
Nagkaroon sila ng inspirasyon. Yung kanilang motibo is para mayroon silang ibibinta para sa art at mayroon din silang kakainin. Yeah. So that's the double purpose.
After 16 weeks, Santo Niño, with a population of about 400 families, grew more than 6,000 kilos of vegetables, worth more than 224,000 pesos. That's about $4,000 US. The average yearly salary in the Philippines is about $3,000. Santo Niño reached 100% of at-risk families, even helping others outside their village, impacting more than 1,000 lives and lowering malnutrition rates. Santo Niño is just one of many participants. ARC is now in 8 provinces. In just 2.5 years, feedback has helped 19,000 families with food security, transforming 138,000 lives who now have access to affordable, healthy produce. And more than 2 years later, barangays like Santo Niño continue to grow and sell. In fact, they grow so much, Santo Niño was the first ARC community to build a talipapa, a market where farmers can sell their excess.
Naitulong ng art dahil po nakabinta rin po kami ng mga gulay yung inano po namin dito sa barangay.
The only hitch of the day came when a litter of pigs ran away from a nearby farm. But as soon as the last runaway was corralled, the selling and bartering continued. Marina Francisco went straight from her farm to the talipapa with a bucket of freshly picked eggplant, okra, and beans. While the sounds of pomp and circumstance played at a kindergarten graduation down the street, her vegetables were weighed, the numbers were tabulated, and Francisco was happy to show off her pesos. In Santo Niño, Philippines, I'm Ernabel DeMillo for Asian American Life.
I'm Vivian Lee with Asian Americans Lifting New York, our tribute to CUNY scholars who have made a difference in the community. This time, we honor the late Corky Lee, a photojournalist on a mission to refocus American history from an AAPI point of view.
Photographs give Asian Americans visibility about their culture and about the history of Asians in this country. And that's my primary mission.
That mission fueled Corky Lee's 50-year career chasing what he called photographic justice. He called his camera his sword in the fight against discrimination, prejudice, and stereotyping of AAPI Americans. When he died in 2021 from COVID, he left an unrivaled body of work, thousands of images capturing the AAPI community's triumphs, trials, and tragedies, including the increase in anti-Asian hate crimes during the pandemic. Now a part of Manhattan's Chinatown, where his activism took root and where he joined community patrols before he caught COVID, bears his name.
He spent quite a bit of time there, sharing his stories, did a photo exhibit there, had his coffee across the street. I think what people should know about Corky is that he was completely dedicated to making New York and America a complete experience by making sure that Asian Americans are included in the day-to-day stories as well as history.
History, like his photo that made the front page of the New York Post in 1975. He also documented the protests it sparked, an unprecedented show of civic force by thousands of Asian American New Yorkers. And this one, a favorite, taken days after 9/11. Sikh Americans had become targets of hate, and Corky was there when they protested the racism. An American history major at Queens College and a self-taught photojournalist who borrowed a camera because he could not afford one, Corky Lee felt the fire in his belly when he saw this photo in high school. Andrew Russell's famous 1869 champagne photo, also called the Golden Spike photo, at Promontory Summit in Utah. It marked the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, but did not appear to include Chinese workers, who made up 90% of the railroad workforce.
I distinctly remember him saying, "Look at this picture. We're not there."
Corky Lee reenacted that photo on the 145th anniversary of the railroad's completion, but this time with descendants of those Chinese laborers and their supporters. John Lee says his older brother never sought glory, only credit where credit was due his fellow Americans.
He wanted us to be recognized as Americans. He always came back to that.
His photos captured everyday American lives, and it was his quiet but fierce way of passing on the torch to others. A retrospective of his most iconic photographs will be published in February 2024.
A guy of modest background could do what he did, okay? Gives inspiration to others to continue doing that.
His camera has been lent to other budding documentarians. And though honored before, Corky Lee Day was proclaimed in 1988, 2 documentaries about him were released last year, and he even got his own Google Doodle last May. Maybe he'd be most delighted by anyone at the corner of Moscow and Mott Streets gazing up and knowing why his name is there. For Asian American Life, I'm Vivian Lee.
I'm Kyung Yoon at this section of Lexington Avenue, playfully nicknamed Curry Hill, for the South Asian markets and restaurants concentrated in the stretch of Kips Bay. I'll have some insights on this fascinating neighborhood. Take a walk along Lexington Avenue between 25th and 30th Streets, and you can feel transported to India without ever leaving New York City.
Because a lot of Indian stores and restaurants, so people traveling especially for Indian spices or food, so that's why it's popular.
Hemant Mathur, who owns 3 restaurants in Curry Hill, is America's first Michelin-starred Indian chef. He says each of his Curry Hill restaurants represents different regions of India.
Dhaba is Punjab. Punjabi food is much popular because this Punjabi food comes first abroad from India, and people love it. Punjabi food like butter chicken, tandoori chicken. Sahib we have Kashmiri food. So this is from up north, so they have different kind of food. Their Kashmiri food we use of like yogurt, some whole spice, garam masalas. Because very cold, so we put some heat spices. Yeah. Chote Nawab is from South Hyderabad. Hyderabad is very popular for Indian food. So they have biryanis, like rice dishes and kebabs.
For more than 30 years, Chef Mathur has been on a mission to make Indian food more popular and accessible to New Yorkers. He opened Sar Indian Bistro in 2018 to bring modern Indian cuisine to Times Square.
A lot of people coming from other part of America, they never eat Indian food. A lot of people came here and they said, we eat Indian food first time. And they love it.
The chef says that his first Curry Hill restaurant, Dhaba, helped to transform the area into a food destination.
Before there is, people think only yellow cab driver go there and eat food. We opened this Dhaba. People then coming there, slowly other restaurants open, and then people think, oh, Lexington Avenue is a good restaurant.
Neighborhoods like this one are just one more testament to the hard work, energy, and entrepreneurship of immigrants and what makes New York, New York. I'm Kyung Yoon for Asian American Life.
Did you know that Asian Americans are 40% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes than their Caucasian counterparts? One professor here at Queens College says a certain type of miracle can help to change that.
Sourness is transformed into sweetness.
A sweet transformation which miraculously occurs after eating this little berry, appropriately called miracle fruit. Discovered in the 1800s in West Africa, miracle fruit was chewed by natives before consuming sour foods to make them more palatable. Unlike sweeteners, miracle fruit is not added to foods. Instead, it contains a glycoprotein called miraculin, which modifies taste perception when eaten.
The miraculin in miracle berry enhance the sweetness without added sugar by coating taste buds on tongue.
Dr. Sung-Eun Choi, an associate professor in the Department of Family, Nutrition, and Exercise Sciences at Queens College, conducted a recently published CUNY-funded study which measured the appeal of miracle fruit in modifying sour taste to sweet using diabetic or pre-diabetic Korean American men and women.
Due to the significant risk of developing diabetes for Asian Americans, the miracle fruit application can be beneficial for Asian Americans to manage or prevent diabetes or prediabetes.
According to the CDC, Asian Americans are at a higher risk of developing diabetes, even though many are not considered overweight.
Asian Americans have less muscle and more fat than other ethnic groups and can develop the diabetes at younger ages and lower body weight. The American Diabetes Association started recommending that Asian Americans get screened for the diabetes at BMI is a body mass index of 23 instead of 25. 25 is for the general population.
Which is why the use of miracle fruit may be especially important for Asian Americans. Since diabetes is partially attributed to added sugar, Dr. Choi says using miracle fruit can result in reduced caloric intake by turning sour-tasting low-calorie foods into sweetly satisfying treats. Additionally, miracle fruit may be preferable to non-calorie sweeteners since it's high in antioxidants and doesn't change the natural flavor of foods.
Oh yeah, it's very sweet.
Yes.
I tried the tasteless berries, which are sold freeze-dried since they spoil easily and come in tablet or powder form. You put the tablet on your tongue and let it dissolve, and miraculously, sour foods like lemon juice, green apples, and plain yogurt become sweetly satisfying. The effect lasts 30 minutes to an hour and only works on changing sour taste to sweet and cannot be used on heated foods. Miracle fruit has been approved as a safe food additive in Japan, where the little berry's popularity is evident, with a miracle fruit cafe in Tokyo that boasts everything on the menu is under 100 calories. The fiery red fruit has a novel food status in Europe, and although it was introduced to the US in the early 1900s, Miraculin as a food additive has not been approved by the FDA. However, the USDA does not maintain restrictions on miracle fruit.
We can grow and sell and eat the miracle.
A natural option for a sweet take on a sour note. For Asian American Life, I'm Susan Jun.
Folk singer Treya Lamb is on the rise. Their music can be described as anthems for social movements.
Their upcoming visual album, Otherland, is a collection of anthems for those fighting for equity and social justice. This song is called Dawn, performed with a Resistance Revival chorus.
And we shake our heads at the news reports and say, oh, this isn't who we are.
The song came from all of those who have been doing the work to dream of better worlds and work towards freedom.
Seen this hate before.
I started creating Otherland as a way to call in and manifest the society that we could become with personal and collective healing, with intersectional organizing and coalition building, and just taking a pause from the urgent pace that white supremacy and capitalism puts us on.
Many of the songs in Otherland were written during the pandemic, a time when Treya was connecting with their roots.
I didn't really know about the history of the Asian American movement and how it was built alongside the Black Power movement, the anti-war movement.
And when Lamb discovered the album for the Asian American movement in the 1960s, Yellow Pearl's A Grain of Sand was on repeat for months.
I had to connect and find my voice so that other people who have felt less than or othered in this country can learn how to love themselves and how to accept themselves and to find each other so that together we can make the shifts and the changes and the world that we're meant to live in.
Treya Lamb identifies as queer and uses the they-them pronoun. Their journey to find their voice is as windy as their vocal acrobatics. Adopted from Taiwan when they were just a baby, Lamb grew up on Long Island, the only child of Chinese American parents, devout Presbyterians who listened to hymnals at home. Their weekends were devoted to church, Chinese language classes, college prep courses, and music lessons, though a career in music was not encouraged.
I just had a lot of self-doubt about whether or not I could be a musician or an artist. That was never something that I saw as a possibility and was always like wandering through the wilderness on my own just because I had to do it.
When Treya's adoptive mother passed away, any doubt to pursue music was erased.
It was like a fire that burned away a lot of the doubt. Like there's no time to waste thinking like this is what I'm meant to do, this is what I gotta do.
And when Treya met their biological mother in Taiwan, they found out music runs through their veins.
She was a musician. Her parents were musicians. Father and her mother both played piano, and it was like, okay, there was a little bit of nurture, but it runs in the blood. It was like the universe saying, would you like more evidence? Like, here, like, go.
And Treya kept on singing, joining the Resistance Revival Chorus, a group of 70-plus women and genderqueer artists and activists performing in the tradition of civil rights songs.
Now joy is our defiance.
Treya's first album, Good News, was produced and published by Khaki King's Short Stuff Records. This track is called Magic.
A spell of sage exploding in the roadside, broken cage.
Treya had a busy season as an artist in residence at CUNY's Brooklyn College in partnership with the Public Theater to develop Otherland, and capped by a performance at Brick Celebrate Brooklyn with members of the Resistance Revival Chorus at the Prospect Park Bandshell on their birthday.
Picture me, young and innocent, running under.
Treya's new album, Otherland, is due out next summer. In the meantime, you can check out their music online at www.treyamakesmusic.com. For Asian American Life, I'm Rainer Ramirez.
That's our show for now. If you want to learn more about these stories and more, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Asian American Life. I'm Ernabelle DeMillo. We'll see you next time.